Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank each one of you for coming to testify. And Mr. Park, you are not old enough probably to remember this, but I remembered the $6 million man. You are now the $600 million man because you were coming in to fix all this. And so we're hopeful that you, based on the people that I represent, that you're successful by November 30th. We do want to ask you, though, how do we define success? Because the talking points are all that it's going to be fixed for the vast majority of Americans as they go on. And we see Mr. Langford here. He can't get on. So what is success? Is it a 98% without wait time? How do we define success so on December 1st, we'll know whether you are worth $600 million or not?
So thank you for your comments and your question. So first of all, I'm just a small part of the team working to fix this. So
what's success?
So success is, well, first of all, the site will most definitely not be perfect, right? So even sites that are mature, that are running really well.
I know, but how do you, when the President asks you, were you successful, how do you define success?
You first of all want a system that is stable, right? So it's actually up and running consistently, as opposed to
what percentage of the time?
98%
of the time.
Well, one proxy that we are using actually is for just performance in general is response time and error rate. And if the system actually has issues and goes down, then actually these things can then exacerbate.
Okay.
Those
I'm going to run out of time. So what I would ask you to do is, for the record, is get to committee what we can look to so that we can disseminate it to all of America on what success is. So on December 1st, we will all know.
I will take that back. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chow, much of your testimony is, I've read some of your testimony, and it seems to be a little different, but I also know that you had several meetings, ongoing meetings with White House staff over this process. Is that correct?
I accompanied Marilyn Tavenner and other directors such as Gary Cohen.
So how many times were you at the White House?
Over the course of 3 years, maybe less than 24 times.
Okay, because the logs suggest 29 times. Is that correct? Would be in the ballpark?
That might not be accurate because some meetings were canceled.
Okay, who conducted these meetings? Was it Jean Lamborn? Jean Lamborn?
I believe her name's pronounced Lambrew.
Okay.
There were meetings conducted by her. Also, I've met with Steve Van Rokel. As well as
in those meetings. So y'all were all part of those meetings?
No, Steve chaired a.
No, I'm asking about the White House meetings. So there was 29 White House meetings of which you had this group. Who were the people in the room? Were you in there?
I'm not trying to be difficult, but there are different parts of the White House. There's a White House Conference Center.
Okay, the meetings with Jean that she was leading, the 29 meetings, or 24?
That was probably less than a handful.
Okay. I guess my question is, I'm a little confused how the President would be surprised that this was such a debacle on October 1st. If y'all were meeting regularly with the White House, why would they be surprised on October 1st? That it didn't roll out the way that everybody thought it should?
I think the subject matter, at least with my attendance being there, was to discuss things such as the status of the hub development.
So did anybody express concern that there was a problem? That October 1st there was going to be a problem?
No.
There was no one in that room that, so we had all the brightest minds in the world in this room, and no one anticipated a problem on October 1st.
They were highly specific issues such as working on 6103 requirements with IRS, Privacy Act implementation with the SSA. They are very operationally specific implementations.
So y'all weren't meeting on how the website was going to work? None of you?
Not meetings. No, my meetings were more operationally focused about implementation.
All right. So it is plausible that the President would be surprised that this wasn't going to work based on those meetings?
I wouldn't know that.
Okay. So who would have been in the best position to be able to advise the President that we were going to have this just unmitigated mess? Anybody in that room? Who should we bring back here, I guess is what I'm saying, Mr. Chow, that can help the American people understand why this was such a fiasco?
I really don't have an answer to that.
It's amazing. Well, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. It's amazing how we can find, how you can't answer a simple question for the American people.
I don't think that's for me to decide. That's why I'm not.
I asked the question. It's for you to answer.
But, okay, so my answer is it's not really for me to decide.
Mr. Meadows, your time has expired, and I strongly suspect that, as is often said in politics, that success has many fathers, quite a few mothers, plenty of relatives, but failure is an orphan. You're going to find an orphan here if I've ever heard or seen one.